Hey, hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So, I titled today's episode, Don't Waste Your Life. And, you know, I say that with all due respect to a lot of people, but I say that in all seriousness as well. Because, I transitioned or retired from the Air Force back in 2013, over 10 years ago. I can't believe that. And the last 6 or 8 months and, leading up to retirement, I was always thinking about, hey, what am I going to do when I get out? Am I going to apply what I've learned in the Air Force, which was aircraft machining and welding and, management leadership? Or am I going to, get something altogether different? And I wasn't quite sure, but I knew that I loved teaching adults. I mean, I still teach at Webster University. I teach graduate classes there for business and management and training and development. But I love teaching adults. And I knew that that had to be involved in whatever I was going to take a job doing. So I applied for a bunch of jobs. I went on, I searched online, went through the typical process. I also sought out a couple companies and approached them to see if they were hiring because I wanted to work for a company that, I really was comfortable with. So I put out a lot of applications to decent jobs, and man, I was getting really impatient. After about 2 weeks, I was like impatient, and I was still on terminal leave at this point, where I was still getting paid active duty pay because I had 60 days leave saved up. But I was getting impatient and I was like, man, I gotta find a job. I gotta get a job, time's ticking. And rather than being patient and waiting and seeing what all job offers I received, I got a call from the VA. I applied for a job there. Actually, one of my Webster students, Jim Hall, was the one who actually, asked me to apply for the VA, an HR job. And the job was HR, labor relations, and employee relations specialist. Now, the employee relations side of LRER is all training and development and help making life best for the employees, helping the supervisors, all that other stuff. The labor relations side is basically all disciplinary work. For lack of better description, I was basically a attorney's assistant because I had to be digging in all the laws and I had to know the union agreement like backwards and forwards. And I did. I got to know it very good. But anyway, when I interviewed for the job, I told them how much I loved training and development and, teaching, coaching, and well, coaching wasn't even a terminology that I knew back then, but I told them I love teaching, helping leaders, leading, et cetera. And they said, yeah, this job involves a lot of training and development, working with leaders. And I'm like, great, man, that is exactly what I want. That's in my wheelhouse. Well, they offered me the job and I accepted. And like a couple days after I started at the VA, I received a call from another job that I had applied for at one of the major hospitals here in Little Rock. And they offered me, or they wanted to interview me for a job it was like heading up their leadership and development program. They said they really liked my resume. They liked what I've done in the Air Force and the leadership and the training and development that I've done there. And they said I would really fit in well with the job offer that they had or the job description. So I had to tell them that, no, I'm sorry, I've already accepted another job. And as I was telling them this, I was like, man, do I just quit the VA right now? Or because I knew this job would have been amazing. But I didn't. I'm loyal and I stayed with the VA job. And I said, no, I already started the job. I'm sorry. Thanks for the call, but I just can't. Well, about a month after that, they called me again and said, hey, Mr. Grau, we still haven't filled this position, and we really think that you're the person for this job. Would you consider interviewing? And again, I was like, man, I was a month into working at the VA now and starting to get settled in. And I was enjoying it. You enjoy all jobs, I think, the first month or two that you're there, depending on what it is, of course. But I was actually enjoying it. And I said, yeah, this is a job where I can really make a difference in and, help people. So I told this hospital, I was like, no, I'm gonna stick with my plan here. I'm gonna stay here, and I'm sorry, but I can't accept. So they were bummed, and we said goodbye, and they never called back after that. But I ended up resigning from the VA at my 52-week mark, exactly 1 year to the date, and it was actually a day that my 52-week mark, my 1 year point, I actually got a raise. So I put in my 2 weeks notice and I got my higher pay for the last 2 weeks. I was promoted. But I'll tell you, 99% of the job was all labor relations. And I just did not enjoy that at all. I mean, I was miserable. I mean, I got along great with the union. I got along great with the supervisors I worked for, but I just hated doing disciplinary work all the time because that's all I was doing. And I didn't feel like I was making a difference because the real way that I could have made a difference is train the supervisors to help them lead their employees better. But I wasn't given that chance because I was always doing disciplinary work. Well, I think like 1 or 2 days in the entire year, I actually did some training and development. Very few. So looking back on that first year, I'm not going to say I wasted that year because I learned a lot there. I learned what I didn't like. I learned that I didn't want to work for the government anymore. And I learned that I wanted freedom. And not just freedom that, I served the Air Force 26 years and defended our freedom here in the United States. But it wasn't necessarily that kind of freedom. It was the freedom that I wanted the freedom to do what I wanted to do, work with the people and the companies that I wanted to work with, and make my own schedule. So I decided to get into coaching, and my wife actually turned me on to this coaching deal, and she saw an advertisement and said, "Man, you'd be perfect." So I took this coaching role, and the rest is history. Since I've started coaching, and my business has been up and down, it's fluctuated. I've had some really good months and I've had some really bad months. It's been really slow at times. And, at times I've been really busy. And of course, I like it when I'm busy, but I also like doing the podcast. I also like doing videos. I like doing stuff that I love. And sometimes some of the clients that I work with are great. I would say 95% of the clients I work with are absolutely great because, they are picking up what I'm putting down. They really are eager to learn, eager to get better, and eager to help their people by being a better leader, having a better life. So I really feel like I'm contributing and I really feel like I am living out my God-given purpose right now. I really feel like I'm using my skills and strengths and natural talents because coaching isn't exactly teaching. There's a big difference there, but I also still teach at Webster. So I get my teaching fix in, if you will. Plus I get to coach. And I coach online, I coach in person. I also train, do training workshops. But I'm telling you, I love what I do now. And I really do feel like I'm making a difference. And even on this podcast, I read comments that y'all send me via email and reviews. And, for the most part, everybody who listens kind of enjoy this. But I love what I'm doing. And I have the freedom. And it's as simple as that. I have the freedom to say on this podcast that I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and he is my Lord and Savior. And now I get to really, I work with anybody. Don't get me wrong. I work with anybody because I love helping people above everything else. I just love helping people. And that's where I think my gifting is. And I think that that's my natural talents. So, all of this to say, if you're in a job that you just absolutely hate, I mean, it pains you to go to work every day, start working on an exit plan and give me a call, text me, email me. My email's paul@clcteam.com. And man, I'll have a conversation with you and we can go over some things and I'll help you start an exit plan free of charge. All right. But I just want that for you because life is too short to not be working in a job that you absolutely love. Because I want you in a job where you can maximize your skills and your strengths. I want you in a job where you absolutely know your purpose and you live it out every day. I want you in a job that you can love your family and your career and that you can have that balance. I want you in a job where you can love others and serve them in the best way that you can. And the best way that you can serve other people, it's very seldom, probably about 30% of the people in the workforce actually serve people according to their strengths and gifts. I mean, over 70% of people holding leadership jobs never had any leadership training, any formal leadership training. Because a lot of companies, I mean, if you're a good employee, they just automatically assume that, oh, this person's a great employee, so automatically they'll make a great leader, right? Well, that's not always the case. Some people don't want to be leaders. And if you push them hard enough and you give them the right training, anybody can be a great leader. I know that. I've went through my ups and downs in leadership and I'm still learning. That's why I laugh when people say they're a leadership expert, because leadership involves people and every person on this earth is different. And unless you can say you've led every different style and every different person and you know exactly what to do in every situation, you can't call yourself an expert. We're always learning. We're always growing. We're always getting to be a better leader. So if I was to give you a tip, I would say sit down, write out a vision for yourself and a family vision. Sit down with your family and write out a vision. Write out a 1-year vision, a 3-year vision, a 10-year vision of where you want to be in 1 year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. Because if you don't have a vision, you really don't have any way of knowing where you're heading. And if you want to get in a job that suits you, you need a vision. Vision will give you clarity. It'll allow you to see, man, this job, I can really live out this vision working in this job. And, a lot of times I coach people that are leaders that, man, they just don't want to be in a leadership role when I start coaching them. But after I've coached them a while, they get back with me and they're like, this leadership stuff is pretty good. I've made a few tweaks here and there and I'm really getting to know my people. And, I know that if I enforce standards and policies on them, it's because for their own good and I want the good for them. I want good for the company, and it's like I'm not screwing them if I hold them accountable. And that's, leadership, love, accountability, vision. That's what leadership is. And so even the people that I've started coaching, that companies have called me up and say, hey, we really need some leadership coaching for this person because they got a lot of potential, but they're just not comfortable. I've heard that from a lot of people. And, if that's the case, I love working with those people because once they peel back that onion and see what leadership's all about, man, they open themselves up to a whole new dimension of life that they never even knew was there. So come up with a vision. That's the first thing I would recommend for yourself and your family, because then as a family, you can work towards your family vision and start doing things that'll inch you closer to that vision. And then set personal goals, your own goals, and then set family goals that are going to get you pointed in the direction of that vision. So your goals just aren't goals that you want per se. Your goals have purpose because now your goals are in alignment with your vision. And that's something that you can really get motivated by. And that's some goals that you will achieve, especially if it's written down and you're looking at it every day and you're evaluating your behavior. You're asking yourself, hey, am I doing what I need to do to carry out and reach this goal? If the answer is no, well, you have nobody to blame for not reaching that goal than yourself. And if you are doing what it takes and you're still not reaching that goal, well, then you got to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, what's going on? What am I doing that, that I shouldn't be doing? And what do I need to do? Maybe it's something just adding to what you're doing. So that's two things. Write out a vision for yourself and your family. Set goals based on that vision for yourself and your family. And last but not least, man, laugh. Learn to laugh. Be positive. Have fun every day. At work, learn to laugh, even if you don't like your job. I will guarantee if you start laughing at work, even if you're not happy there, if you just start smiling, if you start taking the high road and a positive attitude, man, your life is going to change. And I know that. I'll guarantee it. Because there's so much negative in our world. And if we are constantly focused on negative crap that's going on in our lives and in the world and society in general, if we're focused on all that negative, guess what? We are going to be getting more and more and more negativity in our life. However, if we start taking the positive approach and looking at things, hey, this might not be the best situation, but you know what? I'm going to go in it with a positive attitude. That's where you really start making a difference. That's where you really start enjoying your job and your life. So the three things are: write out a vision for yourself and family, set goals that are pointed to get you to that vision for yourself and your family, and finally, laugh and have fun every day. Take a positive attitude in no matter what's going on around you, because we can't control what's going on around us. We can only control our thoughts and our responses and our perspective. So why not smile about it? Why not have a positive attitude and say, you know what? It's okay. This is going to work out. We're going to learn from this negative situation right here, and we're going to press on, and we're going to apply what we learn so it doesn't happen again. Now, the last thing I want to tell you, and I know I went super long in this episode, and I apologize for that, but I want to tell you that it's never too late to start over. It's never too late to start a new career. It's never too late to go to your bosses and say, I need my job description tweaked a little bit because what I'm doing is not matching up to my strengths. And I really want to start doing more of this. When I was in the VA, I should have approached my boss maybe before I resigned. And maybe I should have said, you know what? I hate this labor relations stuff, but I love the employee relations. Let me take over the leadership department. Let me start training leaders. Let me start coaching leaders. And who knows? My boss may have said no, but maybe they would have said yes. But I never know, and I'll never know. However, I think I was ready to leave the government and the VA work anyway, but because I love what I do now. I love being my own boss. Love being an entrepreneur with all the good stuff and the bad stuff. The good stuff outweighs the bad stuff. Man, 50-1, guaranteed. So that's it for today. I hope I didn't go too long. Well, I know I did. I went double time today. But enjoy this episode and come on back tomorrow and we'll talk about a new topic. So until then, run to your challenges. We'll see you.